we go. All right. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Russ. What's going on, my friend?
Good morning.
It is Monday, April 5th. I'm kind of funny with dates. I remember dates usually very, very well. 38 years ago today, I moved into the first house that I bought. So isn't that funny? Nobody would care about that, but I would happen to remember. It was, I don't know what day of the week, but I remember it was closing in the morning, moving in the afternoon. That was exciting. First house.
Nice.
This is the Neuro Bros Show with Russ Parker and Karl Sterling. We're reaching out to the world to provide education that will help people, all people, to learn more about Parkinson's and other movement disorders and intervention strategies to help to, let's say, manage disease symptoms more effectively, hopefully slow disease progression, hopefully improve movement, reduce falls, improve quality of life. This is our mission. Of course, with my disclaimer, anything we teach is not meant to replace medications or medical care, but to complement them, because the two worlds work together very, very well. Take the medical community, even some of the Eastern medicine stuff that I've been studying more about recently, interested in for years, but really digging in lately. That with Western medicine is cool, and then those with us is cool. So it's like we can all entities, all modes of helping can help each other, like this like circle. What's happening, Russ? Did you have a nice holiday or Easter and all that stuff?
Weather's turning nice. Looks like we're seeing more and more of spring, so that's a great thing.
I saw a picture you posted. It looked like you have a lot of blooming going on down there.
Yeah, it was a cherry tree in my yard. It was
that's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's really great. Cherry trees are the best. Actually, I want to make sure I did something right here, because there is this possibility that I didn't share this with the world. And I want to make sure I'm sharing with the world. So as I decide and figure out if I'm sharing with the world instead of just to me, which would be horrible. Oh gosh, no wonder there's nobody here. Edit privacy. Got to go public, man. Okay, now we're public. Isn't that wild? We've been talking for like 3 minutes, folks, because somebody, his name's Karl, forgot to hit the public button. We didn't really say too much, though. Other than good morning, hello, hope everyone's doing well. We want to teach you some things that might help you to move better, slow disease progression if you have Parkinson's or anything else going on in movement disorder arena. And now that we're live with the world, just making sure, yep, we are. You'll actually be able to see us. Whoa. Okay.
All right.
Oh, well.
Can you see me now?
Yeah. You and I, it was on the just me mode. Karl, what's up with that? I don't want to do the just me mode. Although it'd be nice if we had at least one person watching, so I know it's reaching them, but it does say public, so that's good. Yeah, all right. Well, we'll just hang out here and talk.
You're doing Facebook too, right?
Yeah, that's what I did wrong, was it automatically defaults to share with just me. So only you and, well, only I can see it, I guess. And maybe you if I tag you.
Somebody just jumped on I got 3 participants, looks like on
Facebook?
Zoom. So we got
on Zoom.
Helen. Hello, Helen.
Hey, Helen Martins, how you doing? Good. So we got some Zoom.
My fellow Long Islander, Helen, having nice weather down here.
So she's pretty close to you, right?
A little early. It was a short winter, I think.
Now you live not far from each other, right?
Yeah, very close. Yeah.
That's cool.
I would say about 10-minute drive.
Oh,
I'm sorry. No, actually, a little longer for Helen. That I'm thinking of her daughter. I know her through her daughter, Susan. Susan and I live about 10 minutes away.
Oh, okay.
Helen's further out east, but on Long Island. Yeah.
Okay, somebody is watching on Facebook. Okay, at least I know it's reaching the world. Sorry, folks. You didn't miss anything though. You know, I've been thinking and thinking and thinking what to talk about. I've been doing so much studying and research, especially as I write this next book, which it's going to come out. I really want it this week. Just don't know if it's going to happen, but it's really, really, really soon. It needs to be a certain way. And, you know, I can't have it be anything less than the best I can make it. So it's coming, but in this period of time where I'm researching and learning, it's been really cool to just learn about all these different things where, you know, people go into detail. These researchers go into detail talking about things like managing your emotions, managing your sleep cycle, managing your mindset, which is kind of tied into emotions, moods, optimizing neuroplasticity.
And pain is tied in there a lot too.
Yeah. Pain can really change how we feel in many, many ways. You know, there's an interesting
And how
thing.
you feel could affect pain.
We may have talked about this in one of the past two shows, but Stanford just put out this thing. Have you ever had this happen? So I was feeling real. This has happened to me multiple times, but the most recent time was I went to my doctor after testing negative for COVID in early December, but then feeling absolutely horrible. And my skin was hurting everywhere. It's like a total body neuropathy type of pain, I guess. I never had neuropathy, but when I get the flu, my skin hurts like beads of water on my head and my skin hurt. It's almost like my hair hurts, even though it can't, but the scalp does. So never had pain that bad other than shingles one time. So I test negative, but I'm like, man, I just feel so bad. So I go to the doctor and he tests me. But the thing is that when I got to the doctor and as I was going to the doctor, and then when I arrived at the doctor's office, I didn't feel nearly as bad as I did like an hour or 2 hours or all day before. Well, there's a thing about that. And I can't tell you what it is. I cannot articulate it, but it has to do with this anticipate the brain anticipating feeling better. So the mind, it can be so powerful. For example, the good morning, Laura is with us. Hey, I'll talk to you soon, mi amiga. So this whole thing about you go to the doctor, and I don't know if you've had it, like when I had hip pain and I would go to the doctor, it would never hurt as much as it hurt when I wasn't at the doctor. That's a thing. It's a thing in the brain. It's a thing that your brain or something, can't articulate it well, anticipates feeling better. So just the mere fact of going there and then being there, many times symptoms are reduced significantly. When I got to my doctor for the COVID thing, which he tested me and I was positive, but I didn't feel nearly as bad as I did a couple hours before. Of course, within a half an hour of leaving the doctor's office, I felt really crappy. It's like I could hardly drive. I shouldn't have been driving. Isn't that wild? I mean, the mind is so powerful. The brain is so powerful. It starts, according to Huberman at Huberman Lab, it starts to release the chemicals that make you feel better because you anticipate feeling better because of where you're going and you believe that doctor can make you feel better. Wild stuff, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's amazing how you know, the more you learn, the more you realize that there's also more than one way to solve a problem. Sometimes, you know, sometimes your thoughts affect the way, you know, you feel pain. Sometimes the pain affects the way you think.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're having pain and you can control the pain with your thoughts. You know, it's like, and there's all sorts of ways to apply, you know, the way the brain works. You can just attack things from different angles. I'm having hip operation and I'm having off and on pain. Last few days it hasn't been bad, but it was pretty sharp a few days ago. And I was lying down and I was practicing, you know, when you have a pain in one focused area, it's like really strong. So I was practicing every time I got that wincing feeling as it went. I was trying to pretend it was kind of like the pain was like a water balloon exploding on the ground, and that when when the water balloon hit the ground, that's when I had the most pain. But then I tried to pretend that when it broke up and the water goes flowing out, that the pain would kind of like spread out, and it was kind of working for a while. I was kind of changing the way my brain was sensing my pain. It was kind of like spreading it out and making it dissipate a little bit. It's interesting.
Yeah, it's just fascinating. Just so fascinating. I won't say what operation I was having, but there was an operation I had a long time ago where they numbed me up, and the doctor came in and I didn't know he made his incision. He made the incision, and then he looked at me and said, "Are you ready?" I said, "Yeah, I don't feel anything." He was done already. I had no idea. It was a really quick procedure, right? Like, you got to be kidding me. And then he laughs and all that, and I leave and everything's fine. Couldn't believe it. But I was anticipating some discomfort. I didn't feel a darn thing. One of the things I just wanted to bring up, this is a show more so directed towards people with Parkinson's, but really this can go to anybody. Moods, how you feel, your emotions, your state of where you are in your emotions and your thoughts. I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining, but I'm telling you, today is another day. I wake up just like last Monday and yesterday. And I have nothing to be sad about. But I always feel sad when I wake up almost all the time. And today is really, really hard. And I want to share how I deal with it. And it's 2 words, and it's simple: get moving. It always changes my mood. Do I feel great right now? No, I feel better than I did 10 minutes ago, though. Laura's here. You're here. Some others are. I don't know who. I can't see who, but Helen's here. Well, I love all of you. It's like, whoa, I have great people with me. So lucky me. But it's really tough, man. Some days are really, really hard. I'm healthy. I have nothing to be worried about. I have enough money. I have a house. I have everything I need. Why would I feel sad? I don't know. It's just me. So I don't take pills for it. Well, I do take a Flexor, but a really low dose. That's for anxiety, though. That was because of traveling. I do have a trip coming up in like 11 days to Mexico, which I'm very excited about. Laura's going to be there with us, helping people, translating. Chris Garcia is going to be with us. Adriana Silva Mendoza will be with us. I'm excited about that, but it didn't make me feel happy this morning, although I'm still happy about it. Get moving. It's probably the best way to get stuff going in your brain, those neuromodulators and neurochemicals, the feel good stuff. Just get moving. What does that mean? I don't know. I played my Oculus for 5 minutes. I was boxing. Heart rate went up. Boom. It made a huge difference. So if anyone suffers with that, I can't guarantee that that's going to help you. But that's how I deal with it every day. So instead of having a day where I'm shut down for hours, or maybe even a couple of days, it used to be a week at a time. It might be on a bad day where I'm really feeling down, like this morning. A bad day would be half an hour. A day like today, I know what to do. I do it. 10 minutes later, I'm definitely okay. And I already feel better now than when I first started talking about this. I can't explain it. So maybe you need to talk about it with somebody if you feel like this. And the reason I'm mentioning this is because there's a lot of anxiety in the world for a lot of reasons, pre-COVID, and especially with COVID, even though things seem to be getting better. I'd like to think they are. I don't know about the new strains and variants, but let's just say even pre-COVID, we know that depression is number 1 non-motor symptom of Parkinson's. Statistically, not everyone gets depressed. Anxiety is statistically number 2, as far as I know, last I researched it. Movement seems to help a lot of people. That's really all I have to say about it. If anyone has questions or comments, please put them in the Zoom chat or on Facebook comments.
Yeah, I get the same thing as you, but only on usually on naps. It's usually not in the morning. I don't sleep particularly that well at night, so maybe I don't get it in the morning because I'm just happy to. I'm just sometimes after a while, I'm just happy to when I can't sleep anymore. I'm just happy to be up. So maybe that's why I don't get it in the morning. But like if I wake up from it, if I take a nap, sometimes I'm cranky. And the thing that does it for me is movement. Yes, that's one, but also music. I was like, I rushed to my playlist and I was like, I have different like kind of like feel good, upbeat playlists, and I rush over there and put it on. I'm just like it's like almost like a drug. I need this. I got to put on some music, and as soon as I put on some music, I feel better. And and part of that I think is too because like I enjoy listening to music, but I also like dancing. So like the movement and the music is almost tied together. I start putting on the music and it makes me feel like moving. So it's all good.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to find what works for you. I've done that before. Music, what's really weird is I don't even think about it sometimes. Isn't that odd? A lot of times I'll just walk outside for 5 minutes lately I've been putting on the Oculus, the virtual reality game, and doing something that gets me moving. Or I might even just be shadow boxing, just throwing punches because I have years of martial arts and just be doing all this kind of stuff. And or I might not do that, but something moving helps. Music can definitely help. Find what works for you and do it. There's another thing too about sleep. Now, I've been also this stuff from Stanford is very interesting about sleep. In fact, last night I was just reading a new thing that just came out about a month ago that I missed it. If people take a nap and it's too long, you might get into REM state. And if you wake up during REM, your world probably won't be all that good as far as your mood, because REM is an important thing to either not get to it and don't get started or get through it and then wake up, because it can be a lot of disorientation and mood altering things if you're woken mid REM. Rapid eye movement, dreams. Like I know the dreams that I have a lot of dreams and I remember a lot of them. They always seem to be just before I wake up. And I'm in deep REM them. However, apparently for most people, the sleep cycle goes in like 90-minute phases approximately. So if you're going to take a nap, either have it be like maybe 20 minutes or 90 minutes. Because if you get into like over 20 minutes, 30, 40, 45, 50 minutes on a nap, especially if you're sleep deprived, you're likely to go into REM sooner than if you're not sleep deprived. So if somebody can't sleep, and they're having a bad night and they only get 3-4 hours or 2 hours, you take that nap, you either do 20 or less or do 90, because you're going to go into REM quickly, and you got to get through that to make yourself feel better. The whole sleep thing is real interesting. What do you have trouble getting to sleep or staying asleep or both?
No, getting to sleep and getting back to sleep is not bad. I get up a few times to go to the bathroom, so that's part of the reason why I get up. But I usually don't have problems getting back to sleep. Sometimes I use like guided meditation. I have like um, either I'll pull up a YouTube thing that has it on it, or I have one downloaded guided meditation thing, just kind of like minimalist music and somebody with a soothing voice. Um, or I'll just put on like my mellow playlist, or nothing. Like some people use like white noise, so it blocks out any, because like noises around the house or whatever might irritate them.
They
Um,
they have noise apps now. In
yeah,
fact, Allison Klum has one.
rain.
She told me all about it. Well, when we were doing some traveling together, she played it for me, and different sounds that you can make. it will make. And that can be very helpful, especially if anyone has tinnitus. I don't, but I know some musicians who do. It's a constant ringing in the ears. It drive you crazy, keep you awake sometimes. White noise can change that. So I just want to talk, let's switch gears for a minute. I want to show some things that I do. I like to gamify things with my clients, patients. I like to go and pretty much do this with everyone, I think, one game or another. So on the iPad, oh yeah, you can tell I'm a car guy, right? I've got the car stickers on here for different things, spark plugs, oil filters. This is my world. My two favorite apps are Quizlet and Brain HQ. Brain HQ is the first one I started using. It was developed by the guy who Michael Merzenich, the guy who's like the father of modern neurology, brain neuroplasticity, education, and all that. He is the guy. Michael Merzenich wrote a book called Soft Wired. Brain Q is his brainchild. Now, other people, take his ideas and put it in here, but this is his deal. Brain HQ is his deal. But I'm going to show you Quizlet first. Quizlet is kind of fun because it has a sort of it's a neurological assessment or cognitive assessment that's done called the Stroops Test. So, for example, I go in and I pick, like, sorry, I should have screenshots, but I don't. Flashcards, maybe. Yeah. So what we'll do is we'll be looking at these, and there are basically three things I can do with this. I probably could do more, but I do three things with it. The first one is read the word. Okay, so green, red, green, blue, and so on and so forth. The next one, which is you have to shift mental gears. What's the color of the rectangle? Well, that one's red, green, red, yellow, red. So that's that. Now we can go into, even though the colors are not really the best examples, like the orange isn't the best orange, but at least it's, the color that the letters are written in. So now we have the word green written in letters that are orange. Red is written in orange. Blue in blue, or it could be purple.
Purple, yeah.
Blue, orange, blue, orange. So I'll take, when people are doing, what it does is it tests their ability. A lot of times all of us will get into this and we'll be hauling ass through it, right? And then, we say the word instead of the color of the letters of the word are written in. That's normal. But especially if you mess it up and you realize you did, what's half the battle, that you recognize that you messed it up. Or if they don't say it right and I just don't move to the next shot, the next word, they'll know I'm not moving for a reason. They did it wrong. So it's good for the people who are doing it just for a couple minutes, right? It's good for the person administering because I have to keep track of them. So any stuff that we administer, I like it because we get to test ourselves too. The other thing too is, for example, when I look at yellow, the word yellow, I see it's written in probably purple, but with my left eye, which is donor tissue transplant, it looks more red. With my right eye, which is a plastic implant, is dead on purple. There's no question that it's purple. So not everyone sees colors the same way, and not every eye sees colors the same way. And so I'll take any answer. I mean, if they say red is orange or pink, I'll probably say yes. If they say purple is purple or blue, I'll probably say, even if they say it's red, I might accept that as the right answer because they might actually see red. Sometimes we'll do it one eye shut, see what one eye sees, and then go back through and do it with the other eye. But you know what? More than anything, it's a brain game. That's one game I do on there. There are a lot more on this, like the periodic table of elements and matching things in Quizlet. Brain HQ. I'm not going to show that one right now, but I just want people to know that Brain HQ is that one right down between Instagram and Quizlet. It does cost. Quizlet is free, I think. I know I don't pay a monthly for it. Brain HQ might be like $12 a month, but that's got some seriously cool stuff in it.
Yeah, I've used that. I haven't used Quizlet. I'm gonna get it now though, but I've used Brain HQ. Brain
Yeah,
HQ.
I had to update. This is an old iPad, man. This is like 7 years old, probably, maybe 8. It's one of like the first generation iPad Air. But I have updated it and I could finally download Quizlet when I updated it. The other thing I'll do is I'm discovering that, like myself, everyone learns differently. If I hear stuff, I'm usually pretty good. If I see and hear, I'm real good. But if I only see it, if it's a word, I might not remember, because when I read, my comprehension is horrible, even though I mindfully try to make it not be that way. So I'm going to give somebody 3 words. You're like green, cucumber, and pickles. There's a relationship. Green is a color. Cucumbers are green. Pickles are made from cucumbers, and they're usually green. Well, sometimes, literally 15 seconds, 10 seconds later, they don't remember the words. So I made up my own screenshots. I say, okay, what's that? Oh, that's green. What's that? Oh, that's a zucchini. Oh, no, it's a cucumber. Pickles. Maybe we'll go to a second set of words like corn, yellow corn, and lemon. Might just do it audio and then see if they can remember. If they do, I'll say, okay, great. Say it again. Oh, great. Yellow corn, lemon. What's that first word group again? Cucumber. I don't know. What color is a cucumber? It's called priming memory. In the actual neurological tests, they don't prime you, but we can prime them, or we can just bring it up again and say, oh, it's this, this, and this. And then let's look at this. Because if they see it, yellow, cucumber, lemon, red, tomato, and of course, pizza has to go with tomato because I said so. And what I'm finding is there's this one gentleman in particular I work with who the audio just didn't, he would not remember. But when he sees pictures, what's the first group of pictures? Oh, green cucumber pickle. What's the third group? I just have 3 groups of 3 right now. Oh, that's red, pizza, tomato. Or I don't care what order they do. If they get all 3 words, I'm cool with that. And what's the second group? If he doesn't remember, I'll prime him. I might go like, oh, corn, yellow. And I don't know why I put lemon in there. I should have put something else, but like summer squash. But that's a really simple things, folks. But what's cool is we're building on sets of words from before I had COVID. We had other sets of words with people have memorized. And every time I see them, I say, okay, give me all the words that I gave you to know. And here's 3 more today or 6 more today. But you have to remember all of them for next time and the next time. And we keep building and building and building. So now you got 21 words or something like that. And pictures go a long ways for some people. So just a point of interest. And it's fun.
Good stuff.
Laura, what's going on? Helen, what's going on? All right. Russ, what you got, man? You were talking about some cool stuff before we started. I'd love to hear about it.
So I want to continue maybe a little later. I'll show a few more corrective. We're going up from foot to head with some corrective exercise. I have one stretch in mind for the hip, at least, that I want to show. But we'll stay on this topic for a little while
Sure.
of cognitive stuff and mindfulness. One thing I was thinking of was there's this mindful movement, and mindful and focused movement. And one of the examples from Norman Doidge's book is that the John Pepper, John Pepper, who does the walking through mindful movement. What he had very dysfunctional walking, and he put together this, his own little program. He kind of figured out himself. He broke down walking and mindfully taught himself to move, to put together every piece of the gait cycle basically, and teach himself to walk again. And he got to the point he'd been on and off of medication, but he got to the point where he got actually off of medication and was able to walk very, very fast. I've seen videos of him walking like extremely fast, like so fast it's almost like
That's
running.
great.
And I actually, before my hip started, I actually decided I was going to start on kind of like this John Pepper kind of program. And I was thinking it's perfect for people. This kind of thing is perfect for people like you and I, Karl, who are like into like human movement and that kind of thing, because John Pepper figures this out all by himself, and he didn't take, like biomechanics classes and things like that.
Mhm.
So I mean, we already have some of the knowledge. So you might be able to skip some of the steps that John Pepper had to go through. So I'm going to get back into that. I'm scheduled for a hip operation, but I'm going to put together my own little program, and I had started working on it, and I was doing a combination to simulate what John Pepper was doing. I was doing some walking when my meds were not on in the morning, where I hadn't taken my meds yet, and I was doing some where the meds were on. And I was slowly, I got to the point where both of them, I walk fine when meds are on, a little dysfunctional when the meds aren't in effect in the morning. But I got to the point where I was walking normally in the morning, but maybe not as fast as definitely not as fast as when my meds were on. But I got to the point where I could walk a mile with meds on at maintaining a 12 minute, 40-second pace, I think it was.
Whoa.
That's almost running. That's almost jogging.
Yeah, it is.
That's actually the first time ever in my life I've ever pulled a muscle walking. Because when I did that 12:40 pace, I was really cooking. And the next few days I had like a little bit of a strain in my groin and my hamstring. I was like, wow, it's the first time I ever pulled a muscle walking. But I got the and then I think I was down to like 15-minute miles or something, which is a pretty good pace.
It's good for walking. That's a good pace. You're moving right along
on the off cycle. But what I was thinking about the mindful movement was, as I was saying, John Pepper was doing this thing where he was consciously focusing on what he was doing and how he was moving, and that's one way to accomplish it. And one thing we're big on in your Parkinson's regeneration training too, though, is the multitasking. And I was thinking, and I don't know if this is exactly the correct way to describe it, but what we're doing with the multitasking is you're doing physical movement and you're stacking like all different types of movements simultaneously, and then we might add in some cognitive processing.
Yes.
Now that makes it more difficult. That makes it more difficult. It could, for some people, it could make it less fun. So I mean, I've heard some comments like, "Well, I don't really like that because it's not as fun. So now you're forcing people to do this cognitive stuff on top of the multitasking, and that's fine. You could maybe just add in some fun movements and just if the person's stressed, you don't want them to do it. But anyway, back to the multitasking. When you add in that cognitive task on top of, say, walking or doing a lateral movement or whatever it is it's kind of I think the brain is rewiring also, so you could eventually, the end result is you could still, I think it helps you be more focused on, say the target movement is walking and you're doing cognitive stuff while you're walking. That makes it harder. But then when you get back to walking without doing the other stuff, now I think that helps you focus more on the walking itself. So in a way, I think the multitasking accomplishes the same thing as mindful movement, because you've kind of overloaded the brain with the walking and then the simultaneous cognitive or other movements.
Yeah.
And then you take away, so your brain is overloaded. So now it's trying to adapt to doing all those things. And then when you go back and do just the walking, I think it enables you to focus more because your brain has been rewired to do something more difficult while you're walking. Now you're going to just walking. I don't know if that's really what happens in the brain, but that's kind of.
I would say that you're absolutely correct. I can't imagine why that isn't true, because, lately, especially lately, the past few months, I've really backed off of some of the regular domains of cognition that I want people to do, whether it's decision making, direct recall, or episodic memory, or experiential memory, or whatever. I sometimes just have them talk about anything while you're doing the hurdles, stepping over sideways or forwards, or using poles and going over them. Just talk to me and keep moving. Because eventually what happens is, talking and walking is not always easy. And then talking and stepping through a ladder, even if you're not having to do anything complicated, sometimes it's the biomechanical aspect that causes a challenge, where their hip doesn't want to allow their leg to cross in front of the other leg, but we can do some things to help that with corrective, but or turn them at a slight angle, so they're kind of diagonally moving, but they're still going sort of lateral and crossing the midline of the body. And just talk to me about anything. What did you eat for Easter dinner? What did you do with your grandkids? What did you do with your whatever? So yeah, and I agree though. I'm absolutely positive that when we're wired to do something a little bit more sophisticated movement wise, because we've stacked on another task, meaning hand-eye coordination, playing catch with somebody, or cognitive. I don't know. I never thought of this, Russ. I think that's a genius idea. This now allows some brain space for you to focus because you're wired up to do something more complicated. I'm gonna start using this today. I appreciate that. That's great advice. Great advice.
I think some like we've talked about this before, how we like doing evidence-based stuff, and but then sometimes you just try things, and but also brain science is interesting. I mean, neuroplasticity is a relatively new concept. It was discovered. It was really brought to the forefront really within the last like 50 years, right? I forget exactly when. I think they mentioned this in Deutsch's book,
and even more so since the early 90s, I'd say.
Yeah,
there was one doctor who, and I just read about her. I think it's a lady who in the early 1900s talked about it without using the same word, neuroplasticity, but a brain being able to rewire itself. If I can find it, I'll post it or send it to people. But they thought she was crazy because they're like, no, you're born with so many brain cells and then they just die as you get older. Well, that's not true. So yeah, but so the science of this is real interesting, and I won't keep blabbering right now. But before we end, though, I want to remind people how, as adults, let's say over the age 25, the two-step process to maximize neuroplasticity. But your mindfulness stuff, I think that is taking advantage of neuroplasticity as well, because mindfulness during movement takes thought, takes concentration. And actually, so I will say it now, the step number 1 of 2 is hyperfocus. Chunking. What is a chunk? Do something as hyper-focused as you can for whatever time you can maintain the hyper-focus. Is it 30 seconds, 60 seconds, a minute, 5 minutes, whatever it is? Do it. Take a break. Do it again. Take a break. Do it again. The neurons get marked for strengthening that way. The chemicals get released to mark those neurons that are activated during this hyperfocus. They mark them for strengthening together. And then step 2 is get plenty of sleep. Neuroplasticity second phase happens during sleep. So I don't know about you. There's sometimes I wake up and I know stuff I didn't know 2 days ago, and it's because that's what happened. learn. Oh, now I'm ready for the test because I actually know the stuff because my brain got a chance to actually do what it needed to do while I was sleeping. That's not fake news. So it's cool.
I get most of my thoughts like if I wake up like 2 o'clock in the morning,
Mm-hmm.
thoughts pop into my head, and that's a lot of times where I get like new ideas. Sometimes I say to myself, I'm not going to remember it, so I grab my phone and put a note down so I remember it. But I don't know if the sleep is helping that, or that's just the way I work. My mind is always active, and sometimes like maybe a little bit of rest
Well, you're
gives
good.
that
You're in
time
good company
gives
with
that
that because
time.
that's what Einstein used to do.
What's that?
You're in good company because that's what Einstein used to do. Keep
Yeah,
a
except when
pen,
it's
a
something,
pencil.
it's not good except when it's good except when it's something like funny and humorous, because I like writing little amusing things sometimes, like poems or this and that. And an idea pops into my head 2 o'clock in the morning, and I start laughing out loud, and I wake up poor Donna. So that's not good. I'll just start laughing, think of something.
Nighttime is interesting. As a musician, I've never written a song. I guess if I had to save my life, I probably could come up with something. But I do improvisation, though, is something I'm very, very, very good at. And some of my best conceptual ideas for that have come while I'm semi asleep. And even to this day, I think rhythms all the time. They're always going in my head. I've had one in my head this whole time that we're talking. I also feel that kind of is therapy for me. It's running in the background. I feel it. I hear it. It's nothing fancy. But a lot of these genius ideas, they seem to come out of semi-sleep state. Our mind just gets to do different things when we're semi-sleeping and actually sleeping.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, we're talking about creativity and going back to like the multitasking, mindfulness, and training the brain and everything. So a lot of that is, there is science behind it, but some of it is just being creative. But the one thing that's not really identified, I don't think, in science is exactly when your brain gets quote unquote rewired. You can't really predict where in the brain that information is going to be stored or how it's going to be stored.
Yeah.
I think the brain is flexible in a way. There's multiple parts in the brain, for instance, for motor learning. And we know, like we say, like with Parkinson's, when we lack that dopamine, we could retrain the brain and rewire it to do a particular type of movement, and maybe the cerebellum takes over some of that function. But information, I think, is stored in different parts of the brain, and you lose that information, you could retrain it, and then it might end up in another part. I read a New York Times article in the science section once, and it was called "Does Your Brain Have a Produce Section?" So this man suffered a stroke, and he went through rehab, and part of it was like cognitive stuff, and there was one lingering problem. He could not identify any vegetables. So that's why the article was, does your brain have a produce section? So like the little section of his brain where the vegetables were stored, like any vegetable, it was interesting. He couldn't recall, so he had to relearn what identifying vegetables. Interesting.
Wow, that's interesting. From a stroke, you said.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll tell you, strokes is scary stuff. Having to relearn things a lot of times. Where it happens in the brain can really affect, movement, coordination, memory, cognition. That's why I don't like these blood clots I had. I'm fine now, but you know, I'm really careful about managing this medication because I want to make sure I keep the blood just right so I don't end up clotting at some point or stroking out. It's scary stuff, but there's a lot more to be more scared of, like just other stuff. Russ, did you have some and I don't mean to cut you off, because keep going on this if you want to, but I just want to make sure we get in the corrective that you wanted to do today.
Yeah, I was going to just demonstrate at least the one stretch. There's one stretch that I like. We were doing the hip area, and we showed the hip flexor stretch. And the
Yeah.
particular stretch we showed was getting hit the psoas muscle, which is a deep muscle, hip flexor muscle. But your quads are also hip flexors. And I just wanted to show a technique that's really good. If you could, it's a little bit, it could be, you know, for people who have moving problems, it might be a little bit of a challenge. So don't try this if you have trouble sweeping your leg around or whatever. But the standard stretch that you see a lot of people do for the quad is, you know, the standing one. You see a lot of times people do this thing, right? And that's okay. It gets a little bit of a stretch there. And then I showed we showed the hip flexor stretch too last time, where you're stretching. Let me show the hip. I'm stretching closer to the camera. I'm stretching this hip. If you wanted to stretch the quad more, you would just flex at the ankle a little bit more, and that would get the quad a little bit more. But this stretch I'm going to show you. Let me see if I can aim over there. I want to get the couch. Want to get that couch over there.
Mm-hmm. You can see that.
You see me over here?
Yep.
Okay. I'm just gonna hold onto the arm of the couch, and this is the quad I'm stretching here. My leg is hooked on the back of the couch. Can you see that?
Yeah, that looks good.
Now we could use this planted. I could reposition this foot at any position to push myself back and get a tremendous stretch in here. I usually do this for like 2 minutes. So then I could grab on the back here and get up nice and straight. And this gives you a fantastic stretch in the quad. And you just hold that. And then you move over towards the other arm. So the thing that I was talking about that might be a little difficult is you take off or whatever. You gotta be careful if you're not mobile enough. But for people who are mobile enough to do that, that's a great stretch.
I like that one, man. I might try that one.
Yes, and you know, you stand up nice and straight, and you can tighten the glute up a little bit. And another one I like in the hip area, kind of gets in the groin too, is gets the adductor a little bit. Is this one, this kind of like spider stretch where you sink your elbow down.
Can you move back just a little bit? There, that's good.
Let me do this, like sink your elbow down like
Very
this
nice.
a little here.
Great adductor stretch.
That one's good for your good for
Oh, that's
lower
good.
back pain too. So those were a couple of stretches.
Those are nice. You know, there's a place that I do a lot of working out outside in nice weather where they have this guardrail, kind of a cool looking guardrail. Not that it matters, but it is. And the height of that is just perfect for me at my height to go back up against the rail with the top of my foot near the navicular bone, and do a similar thing to what you did on the couch. Just
Oh yeah,
don't have
I've
the
done
advantage.
exactly what you've done. I've done it on a chain link fence sometimes too, where you just hook your toe into one of the holes on the chain link fence.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Hey, you know, there's one thing I wanted to say, and I have to do this. I'm sorry, folks, but actually I'm not sorry at all because I work really hard to get this out there. This is Parkinson's Awareness Month. April 11th is Parkinson's Awareness Day. That's coming up on Sunday. A lot of people are doing amazing things, like Alfredo Bozieri is climbing the third highest mountain peak this coming weekend. He has Parkinson's. He's 42, I think, or 43. He's had Parkinson's for over 15 years. And many of you helped to donate to the fundraiser to help him cover expenses, which we appreciate much. That money has been sent to him. Also, though, I have two things, just real quick. I'll be traveling on April 17th to Oaxaca, Mexico, which is southwest of Mexico City. There's a new Parkinson's Association opening there. I'm not getting paid anything. I'm covering my own expenses to go, but it's because I want to help them because they have absolutely next to nothing and for hundreds of miles. So this is actually a really huge deal to them, a really big deal to them. And they're over the top excited and grateful. They actually can't even believe that, well, it's kind of awkward that I'm coming. I'm just a guy, but Laura's going to be there helping. And my friend Chris Garcia from Mexico City, she'll be there. Adriana will be there. But we just want to help people. Be 4 days of teaching, just 4 hours a day for 4 days, or no, 3 days. And then 1 day is an actual ceremony, which lasts for hours, and there'll be different speakers. I'll be, a few minutes or whatever. But I put a link in the post for this on Facebook. And if you have it within your means, folks, my foundation is always giving money to people every week somewhere in the world. That link will go direct to a fundraiser for Oaxaca Parkinson's Association. $1, seriously, $5 can go a long ways, especially in Mexico, just because the dollar is very strong right there. It can go a long way. So if you have it within your means to click that link on the GoFundMe and send it of anything, let's go for it. They need help. I have hyper ice, rock tape, and well, I guess my association donating a lot of things to them. We have hyper ice balls going there. We have many big rolls of rock tape, the big rolls, like the 110 feet ones, and some rock sauce. And we've got a lot of insoles that I sent down. I just say what I do, I got to send them to Laura, and then she gets them her American address at her sister-in-law's house, and then she can take them over the border and send them, because otherwise it take 2 months to get anything to Mexico from the US because of customs. So there's more stuff too, and I just can't remember what it is. So that link is in the post. Click it, go check it out. If you're able to help, cool. And then the other thing too is this book, which Russ wrote a piece for. It's on sale. It's $19 paperback on Amazon. Everywhere in the world that it's available. It's available in English. It's available in Spanish. The Spanish one is $20, just because it costs a lot more to produce that one because it's bigger. But this is on sale. It's off. It's a big discount on this. Comes with a free support website with videos, which I'm growing as we speak with more info. That is available in paperback, Kindle for I think $17 or so, and no, Kindle's $9.99. It's $10. That's right, $9.99 on Kindle, and then the audiobook on Audible's maybe like 17. Or if you use one credit, if you're an Audible member like I am. That's all. I just wanted to say that that's on sale this month. We're always raising money for something. So Oaxaca, Mexico is who we're doing it for this month. That's all I have to say about that. But I wanted to make sure I didn't forget.
Yeah,
So Russ,
I'll be sharing info on that as well too. I'm doing a thing for Parkinson's Awareness Month. I'm posting every day. We'll see what happens at the end of the month. I'm getting that hip operation. Hopefully I could plan the posts ahead of time and just do them from my phone or whatever, but I might miss a day at the end of the month. But so we're 5 days into it. The first 4 days were mostly like text heavy things. About like first day was like, how many people around the world in the US get Parkinson's, and, numbers, percentages, facts about, how when you first diagnosed, you've already, lost over half the amount of dopaminergic cells in the brain and things like that. One day I posted about being able to sniff out Parkinson's. There's a woman who has that amazing sense of smell where people who have Parkinson's have a specific odor. And my friend
Wow.
Dr. Lori Mishley is also, I also included some information on her in a video where she's training dogs to do that. I actually met one of the Parkinson sniffing dogs.
Oh, really?
And then I'll be mixing in videos and poems. So like today, I got tired of like the tech heavy stuff, so I just posted my my funny story about how I encountered a freezing episode in the bathroom of the New
Classic.
York
Great
City Penn
story.
Station.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I'm going to be posting every day. So there's going to be a lot of information on Parkinson's, whether it's describing what symptoms are like and my experience. I'm adding in anecdotes about my experience with it or friends' experience with it. So I have two hashtags in there. I just picked one that it looked like a lot of people were using, which is just PD awareness. That's
Mhm.
one of the hashtags. But then I created one for mine, and I just called it PD awareness RP. So if you want to see all my posts for PD Awareness Week, if you search in Facebook on the string PD Awareness RP, my initials,
Okay.
you'll see all the posts I've done so far, and maybe I'll put them all in like a PDF at the end. And then upcoming there'll be I'm going to try to mix in some things like I mentioned some things about charitable things and activities. I'll share with my running friends. I think in March there's a virtual race coming up, and so for Michael J. Fox Foundation. But also I'm going to throw in some poems and fun things. I'm actually working on a music video, so I'm actually excited about that one because I
Oh,
wrote
cool.
the song, but I'm going to put it together as a video, and I have to figure out what date I'm going to release that. It was a lot of fun putting together, but I'm not
I
quite
just
done.
I just put in Parkinson's awareness RP. I got a lot of stuff. PD, I'm sorry, PD awareness. Right?
Yeah, it should be 5 days there now, I guess.
Yeah, I got
Five
a whole
posts.
slew. It's great. PD awareness RP. That's cool. Oh, nice. I like that. Um, yeah, I don't have too much more today. I mean, I could go on and on and on. I think that the only things I really just want to emphasize every time, because I have to remind myself of this too, is no matter what, unless you're really sick or in jeopardy of hurting yourself for some reason, keep moving, get moving. It's a fact that nearly all the time, if you just get started, you'll get the energy to keep going. Oh, Jan Heller's here. She loves The Molecule of More, that book we were talking about. That's a game-changing book. It really tells a lot about some of my issues I've had in my life with various things. And it tells a lot about addictions, behaviors, relationships, or lack of, or many of, but none serious, because there's so much to that. But dopaminergic, there seems to be, and I don't know I can't articulate this as well as I would like to. It seems to me that I'm learning more so that when you do things that you like to do, if you set a goal, dopamine's the driver to get you there. Is it more dopamine that's produced? Probably to a degree, but I also think there's maybe, don't quote me for sure, a bigger part of this could be that dopamine pathways, dopaminergic pathways that are already existent are fired up during those things when you're driven towards what it is you want, you're doing a goal, uh, just doing things you like, especially, or going after something or someone you like, if you will. It may not necessarily be the amount of dopamine, but it is and it's not, depending upon how you read it in the Stanford and Harvard stuff. And I there's other thing, Vanderbilt just did a thing on this too in Nashville. But either way, dopamine is going to drive you, whether it's the pathways firing up of dopamine that's there but not lit up, or it's production more, or both. Going back to what I was saying before, exercise can fire these things up, especially if it's something you like to do. Don't do stuff you don't like to do. unless you like to do stuff you don't like to do. Does that make any sense? Some people love to do stuff that they don't like because they feel a sense of reward. That's cool. Whatever.
Oh yeah,
You
I know what
know,
you mean by that. Yeah.
it's like, okay, well, I did this. Like maybe for me, it would be on an elliptical machine. I hate those things because my hips don't like them. Well, I'm not going to get on one and do it just to say I did it, because that wouldn't even be fun. But for me, but getting started with stuff is really important. It can really change your mood, especially if you're feeling down, change brain chemistry, make you live longer. Who knew? So keep moving and keep thinking, keep learning. When I say keep thinking, don't just think. You could think about bad stuff, right? So keep moving, keep learning. Be curious, check stuff out, learn, explore. It's like the best shit in the world, man. We get
Mhm.
to, we have the power of free will. We can think whatever the heck we want to think. Easier said than done many times, but we actually can do that. It's pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, along that same theme, you know, when I started talking about, I was talking about symptoms yesterday, but I think the title of the post was symptoms and PD is a full body experience. You know, it affects a lot of systems.
Yeah.
And you were talking about, you know, just moving and being open minded, you know, like just trying stuff and everything. And there's a mindset out there that, you know, there's several mindsets out there that I'd like to try and, you know, get people steered away from. And one of them is that there's this limitation that people put on certain problems that could be caused by Parkinson's, or it could be something you had before, maybe that helped trigger Parkinson's. It doesn't matter, but some problem that's not a typical Parkinson's symptoms. And then the mindset that people have is that, well, I have this problem because I have Parkinson's. So then the follow-on conclusion to that is that, well, there's no cure for Parkinson's, so I'm just going to have this problem and I got to live with it. And that's, you know, I'd like people to try to retrain themselves to be more open-minded and think of the world as being a little bit more limitless. And, you know, don't limit your thoughts. There's answers out there. If you know, like for instance, you were talking, one thing that made me think of this is you were talking about just get moving. Well, some people's excuse is I can't get moving because, you know, because of Parkinson's. I'm stiff. I'm this, you know, I have pain, this and that. And there's a lot of answers to that. Part of it is just education. You know, a lot of the reasons why you think you can't do something, there's an answer out there that will tell you that you can. So instead of saying I can't, keep working and trying until you could get to I can, and you can get
Yeah.
there. And
You know,
you might need help from other people. That's what's great about, and there's some things I don't like about social media, but the thing that's great about it with people with Parkinson's is people, you know, start talking about their problems, and there's somebody, you know, a lot of times there's somebody out there and say, hey, I think I could help you with that. You know, have you ever thought of this? And
yeah, I
some
love that
people are
too.
harder to get through to, but you know, just in general, the mindset that I would say is just think no limits, you know, and also be relentless. I have a mantra: relentless, limitless, and fearless. They all
Yeah,
end in less. So I say be more by being less. So be relentless in
it's a good
your, you
one.
know, your pursuit of learning and turning over every stone. Be limitless in your thoughts, thinking outside the box, thinking that there is a solution out there, and be fearless, because fear is just like a waste of time. So just keep plugging forward.
Yeah, yeah. And you know, there's always somebody worse off than me. Let's say I'm not going to say there's anyone worse off than anyone else out there, although it's very true for most people. Um, so when I don't feel like I have the energy to do something, I have to think of those who are doing something, who have less let's say, ability to do it than I do, and I'm making excuses. You know, four of other, I'm sorry if I leave anybody out. The four people who come to mind to me who have Parkinson's, who are fighting like crazy and just kicking ass. You, Laura, Gavin, and my friend Christoph in Poland. You guys are all fighting against this thing every single day. You wake up, you still have it. And you wake up and you just, I know it varies from day to day, right? But you find a way to get yourself going. You find a way to, some days are better than others, obviously, but still, no matter what, you get through it. You fight. And that right there is enough to make me say, you know, come on, Karl, get your act together. Stop complaining about how you feel. Um, and I appreciate so much what you do. You know, you, Laura, Gavin, Omotola. I mean, there's so many people. Christoph,
And,
people
and
all
all of
over the
us,
place.
and all of us, we're not perfect either. That's for sure. And that's actually part of, that's a good attribute to think that you're not perfect, because you always want to tweak things to make it better. I know one thing I'm not good about that I'm inspired by other people is the consistency every day doing the same thing. Like, I think part of the problem is I like think of different solutions and want to try different things.
Yeah.
And I'm impulsive, so I get off track, as opposed to some people who always do they're doing cardio like 7 days a week, and they're doing it at the same time every day. I have trouble doing that. So I'm inspired by those people, and that's a goal of mine, to try to be more consistent on the things that I really need to do.
You know, some people are just wired up, I think, that they can do everything the same way all the time. And I wish I could do that. Same schedule, the same this. I was just thinking this morning as I was in the shower, thinking, you know, if I had to do like a 8 to 5 job, I'd be fired like in days, because I can't do it. Can I? Well, yeah, I can do it. But whoa, that would be hard. I just need to have like, that's why I have my own business for so long. When I worked at the university, you know, I set my own hours. So it's kind of like being self-employed. But I got to do anything I wanted, you know, anytime I wanted, with whoever wanted me. This is the only reason I could work at the university, um, which I miss very much, but still pretty not, they're not really doing much up there right now in the gym. But that besides the point is, I wish I could be regular, and I've tried and tried and tried. I'll never forget. It's so funny. One day, this is off track, but when I was a musician for a living, so maybe 12, 13 years ago, I was down in New York City recording a CD, and we had like 2 full days of recording, a Friday and a Saturday. And the trumpet player in the band is also a doctor, who since moved to New Orleans, Dr. David Blask. If you happen to see this, David, brother, I miss you, man. He's one of the best trumpet players, nicest guy, smart. He's a doctor of anatomy, and he also does a lot of cancer research. So we're sitting in the studio, the booth, well, the sound, you know, control booth and all that, at 9:30 on a Saturday morning. And I look at him, and we're playing jazz, right? I mean, that was what we were recording for this vocalist, Dana. Like, Dave, man, you know, just a few days ago, I ended a thing where I got up at 5 o'clock every morning for 21 days, and I exercised, and every day was better than the next, meaning that every day was worse and worse and worse. And by the 21st day, like, I go out and run or I go lift weights, I thought I was going to die. And so, you know, I'm trying to create a habit, 21 days, right? But I made it through all 21. Some days I might have got up more like 5:30, but back in those days, I would sleep until 9, 10 o'clock in the morning all the time, because I always get home at 2 or 3. So he looks at me and says, oh. So I say to him, I said, Dave, you know, it's 9:30 on a Saturday morning and we're playing jazz. We're supposed to wait till 9:30 tonight and play jazz somewhere. That's what jazz musicians do. And he says, Karl, I tell him about the thing I did. He says, you tried to do that? He says, well, I just got done with a 7-year research project trying to figure out if interrupting or messing with the circadian sleep cycle can cause cancer. He says, the results were inconclusive on that. But what we know for sure is it takes a long time to make a drastic change in sleep cycle like that. So don't try to do that again. And I'm like, yes, because I hated it. I mean, these days I'm up about 7. I don't get up any earlier than that, or much later, 7:30 on a bad day or a late day. But yeah, so I don't know. I went off on something.
Yeah. I had just one more thought. We were running a little over, but I had one more thought because we were talking about dopamine
Yes.
and producing dopamine. I take 1.5 Cinemet 4 times a day, and sometimes I have trouble stretching it out. Like 4 hours. It wears off early sometimes. And one thing I was getting was when it was kicking in, it was kicking in kind of strong, and I was getting like kind of like a dyskinesia kind of reaction. My muscles were clenching and this and that. But then I was thinking, well, usually when you have dyskinesia, they say decrease the dose, but I felt I still needed the 1.5 pills. So all I did was I took the one pill at my, scheduled dosage time, and then I take the half,
Oh,
15 minutes or anywhere from 15 minutes to a half hour after, and it doesn't kick in as strong and everything lasts longer. So I'm thinking that if you take a dosage and it's adequate to keep you moving once it kicks in, but when it kicks in too strong, that you're wasting dopamine. Because when I took the 1.5 pills all at once and it kicked in, and I think I was wasting dopamine because I was getting this extra movement, and then the pill wouldn't last as long. And now it kicks in a little easier with the one pill, but I need the other half pill to make me last the full half hour. So all I do is take it 15 minutes later, it kicks in, 15 minutes or a half hour later, kicks in a little later, and it all lasts longer because I don't have that wasted movement. So that
wow,
was
interesting. That's
and
actually that's really interesting and good to know.
I mean, there's Rytari too, which I have been considered switching to, but I knew my hip operation was coming up, so I don't want to make major medication changes yet. So I'm just playing around with what I got now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought that was interesting.
It is.
Rytari's like kind of like a time release thing. So that might work for
Yeah.
me. But I'll see.
Cool stuff, man. Jan, it's good to see you here. Laura was here. I'll be talking with her in a few minutes. Well, I need to probably move on and go see some clients today, but I wanted to, first of all, thanks, Russ. Always a pleasure. Always great information from you.
Doing this together with you. I actually was thinking back to when I was going through some screenshots, like cleaning up my files, and I found the screenshot of our very first conversation, you and I.
Really?
I had that. I made a post about going to Optima. I made a post to one of the Parkinson's group.
Oh, yeah.
You were in the group. I just said, I'm going to this personal training conference, and it looks like they have a lot of brain stuff. And then you saw my post, and you piped in and say, we should meet up. And that was, so I saved that.
Oh, that's cool.
August 2017.
Yeah, send it on over, man. That's cool. That's great. Yeah, we should probably sign off, but we'll be back at it next week. And I appreciate Jan and Laura, and there's people watching. I can't see who they are. It just says there's people. Sometimes it says the names. Thank you, people. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Russ. And I'll have this posted up later tonight on YouTube, and I'll post also here the YouTube link. Remember, folks, it's on sale. $19 or $9.99 Kindle, 17 or 18 on audio format, and then the Spanish version where you can get it, it's $20 because there's an extra chapter here that didn't make the American one about nutrition, but that's coming out in the English version in the next book in a week or so, or maybe this week. I really don't know. I'm just trying to finish, but that's available on Kindle too for $10. wherever you can get it. So thank you very much, everybody. Thanks, Russ. I'll see you all soon. Let's stay in
Alrighty, have a
touch.
great
And keep
week.
up the great work, brother. Watch Russ's posts. He's got great posts every day. See you all
Alrighty.
later.
Take care.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.